We often hear about the chosen ones as if it were something out of legends, almost a distant myth. But what if I told you that the chosen ones aren't born that way, they are shaped? They are forged through challenges so profound that most people don't even realize they're being tested. These tests are not physical, you cannot measure them with tools or see them with your eyes. They are spiritual, mental, and emotional, and without a doubt, the hardest tests a person can face. Few people go through these challenges, and even fewer overcome them. But those who do emerge transformed, carrying a light that no one can extinguish. Because, in the end, life itself is a test. The path to becoming one of the chosen is to accept this and face what lies ahead. The question is, are you ready to discover what it truly means to be chosen? The first test, confronting the truth. The first test faced by the chosen is brutal in its simplicity, to confront the truth about who you really are. Throughout life, we learn to create masks to protect ourselves. Society teaches us to define ourselves by our jobs, possessions, accomplishments, and even the image we project to others. Each mask is a shield, a barrier between us and our essence. But when life challenges us to go through the first test, all these layers are stripped away. Imagine standing before a mirror that doesn't reflect the physical but instead reveals your soul. None of what you own, have achieved, or represent is present there. Who would you be without your professional title? Who would you be without your relationships, without external validation, or the comfort of your possessions? For many, this moment is terrifying. It's like staring into a void where there used to be certainties, and the abyss seems to ask, do you know who you are when everything external disappears? Facing this truth exposes our deepest insecurities. Automatic answers no longer work here. The test is relentless because it demands that you face what you've often chosen to ignore. It brings hidden fears, contradictions, and even the mistakes you've tried to bury to the surface. For most people, it's easier to retreat into the comfort of lies, pretending this call never happened. But the chosen are different. Even while feeling the weight of this abyss, they stand firm, confronting their shadows without looking away. This process is painful because it dissolves everything superficial. But this pain has a purpose, to free you from the false identity you've built throughout your life. Without masks, you begin to see your true essence. It's not about what you do, what you own, or how others perceive you, it's about what you truly are at your core. This truth is both frightening and liberating because it reveals your potential. It's as if the universe is saying, here is who you are, the rest was never real. Those who pass this test gain something rare, clarity. With it comes an unshakable inner strength. They realize they no longer need external validations to feel whole. This transformation marks the beginning of a more authentic and conscious journey. Facing the truth is like going through a storm. At first, it's turbulent and chaotic, but in the end, you see the clouds dissipate, leaving a clear sky. If you were standing before the mirror today, ready to confront this raw version of yourself, without masks or excuses, would you have the courage to look? Remember, the truth doesn't destroy who you are, it destroys who you never were. The second test, the power of solitude. The second test a chosen one faces is solitude. Not just being alone, but confronting true solitude, where there are no distractions or external noises. In today's society, we are constantly bombarded by stimuli, social media, work, conversations, obligations. This avalanche of information creates a barrier between you and your essence. The test of solitude is a break from all of that. It demands that you disconnect from the external world and dive into your inner silence. For most people, silence is terrifying. When distractions disappear, repressed thoughts begin to emerge. Fears, insecurities, and truths you've avoided facing rise to the surface in the silent space. This is the challenge of this test. You must sit with yourself and accept whatever comes. It's a process many avoid, as external noise feels more comfortable than confronting their own shadows. But for the chosen ones, solitude is a fertile field. It's in this silence that you begin to hear something different, a voice that has always been there but was drowned out by the world's demands. This voice is your intuition, the whisper of your true self. It doesn't shout or demand, it simply guides. Silence is not empty, it is an opportunity to connect with your essence. The chosen understand this and embrace the moment, even if it initially feels uncomfortable. During this test, you might feel lost. Without external validation or distractions to occupy your mind, it seems as if you are adrift. But it's precisely in this space of uncertainty that magic happens. Solitude allows you to build a deeper relationship with yourself. You start to distinguish between what truly matters and what was imposed by society or external expectations. It's in this state of quiet that the truth reveals itself. Those who pass this test discover an immense power, emotional independence. They no longer need the noise of the world to feel complete. They find within themselves a place of peace that no one can take away. This doesn't mean they reject connections with others, but rather that they learn to be whole on their own. And this wholeness transforms their relationships and choices because they come from a place of authenticity. The test of solitude is not easy. It requires patience, courage, and the willingness to face discomfort. But it also offers profound rewards. Imagine sitting in complete silence, hearing only the sound of your breath. Could you endure that moment? Or would you rush to the nearest distraction? The chosen understand that silence is not an enemy but a teacher. And the lesson it teaches is the most powerful of all: you already have everything you need within you. The third test, the challenge of letting go. The third test the chosen ones face is the challenge of letting go. This is where life tests your ability to release attachments. During the journey, we accumulate not just material possessions but also resentments, expectations, and fears. We cling tightly to people, situations, and dreams, believing they define our happiness. But the test of detachment demands that you release all of this, and it is one of the hardest tests because it goes against our nature to seek control. Letting go isn't just about releasing physical things. It's about freeing yourself from the emotions that keep you stuck. Think about a resentment you've carried for years. How many times has that weight held you back, limiting your growth? This test requires you to let go of those burdens, trusting that what is truly yours will never be lost. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it means trusting. It means allowing life to flow as it should, without your ego resisting its natural course. This process is challenging because our natural instinct is to hold on, protect, and accumulate. The idea of letting go seems like a loss, but in truth, it is the opposite. By letting go, you create space for the new, for what truly matters. Many people fail this test because they cling to the familiar, even when it causes pain. They fear the emptiness that arises when they let go. But the chosen ones know that emptiness is not something to fear, it is a portal to transformation. This test also involves releasing the expectations you've placed on yourself and others. How much of your frustration comes from expecting things to happen a certain way? Letting go of those expectations is liberating. It means you accept life as it is without trying to force it to fit your limited vision. This level of acceptance brings a profound peace, something only those who have passed this test can truly understand. Letting go is a continuous practice. It doesn't happen all at once. It's a daily exercise of releasing, trusting, and starting anew. You might think you've mastered this challenge, but life will test you again. It could be through the loss of something or someone important, or the need to abandon a dream that no longer makes sense. Each time you face these situations, you must ask yourself, am I willing to release this to find freedom? Those who pass this test realize they don't need to hold on to anything to feel whole. They understand that true security doesn't come from what we accumulate but from trusting the flow of life. Letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. It's the courage to release control and allow life to reveal itself in its fullness. And you? Are you ready to release what no longer serves you and trust in what the universe has in store for you? The fourth test, the dark night of the soul. The fourth test is the most feared and, at the same time, the most transformative. It is known as the dark night of the soul. At this stage, everything you believe you know begins to collapse. Your worldview, your relationships, your plans, and even your sense of purpose fall apart. It's as if the universe is taking everything away from you, leaving only darkness for you to confront. This is not a test for the faint of heart, it is a profound process of spiritual purification. The dark night of the soul does not happen suddenly. It usually arises after significant losses, deep failures, or existential crises that shake your foundations. During this period, you may feel completely lost, as if there is no way out. The feeling is that the world is crumbling around you and that the light will never shine again. However, this is the purpose of this test, to destroy everything that is not truly you so that what remains is your purest essence. As you traverse this darkness, you will be confronted with questions you never wanted to answer. Why is this happening to me? What is the meaning of my existence? Is there still hope? Most people become lost at this stage. They fall into a cycle of despair, resisting the transformation that is trying to occur. But the chosen ones do something different. They accept the collapse, even without understanding why. They trust that the process, no matter how painful, has a greater purpose. This test is not a punishment, it is a rebirth. Think of it as a forest that, to flourish again, needs to burn away what is old and useless. The fire destroys, but it also clears the ground so that new seeds can grow. So it is with the dark night of the soul. It removes what is not essential, creating space for something greater and truer. The chosen ones who manage to pass this test discover an unshakable strength. They realize that they are not defined by external circumstances but by the light they carry within, even when everything around them seems dark. This strength transforms them completely. They emerge on the other side more connected to their purpose, with a clarity they didn't have before. The test of the dark night of the soul cannot be avoided or rushed. It happens at the right time, and the only way to overcome it is to go through it. You can try to fight it, but that only prolongs the suffering. The secret is to trust, even when everything seems lost. The question remains, are you willing to face the darkness, knowing it holds the potential to reveal your greatest light? The fifth test, the test of faith. The fifth test faced by the chosen is the test of faith, not necessarily religious faith, but an unshakable trust in the process of life. This test often takes place at the height of uncertainty, usually when you are still emerging from the dark night of the soul. At this moment, it feels as if everything is falling apart around you. Answers don't come, solutions don't appear, and doubt takes over. This is where your faith is tested. Can you believe in something greater even without visible evidence? This test is difficult because it requires absolute trust in the unseen. It's about believing there is a greater purpose in everything, even when nothing makes sense. Most people struggle with this idea. They want proof, immediate results, guarantees that their efforts will pay off. But faith doesn't work that way. It's like a flame you keep alive even in the strongest wind. It's an internal force that guides you, even when the path is completely dark. Passing this test means trusting the unknown. It's accepting that you don't control everything and that the universe has its own plans, often far greater than your mind can conceive. Faith isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. On the contrary, it's about recognizing the suffering, feeling it deeply, and still believing there is something beyond it. The chosen ones understand this. They face the pain but don't let it extinguish their inner light. During this test, doubt will be a constant companion. You will wonder if you're on the right path, if you should continue, or if it's time to give up. These questions are normal, but the difference lies in how you answer them. The chosen ones don't ignore their doubts but use them as fuel to strengthen their faith. They choose to believe, even when there is no concrete evidence that things will improve. Overcoming the test of faith brings a kind of strength that nothing can shake. You realize you don't need external guarantees to continue your journey. You discover that true security comes from within, from a deep trust in yourself and the flow of life. This trust makes you resilient, capable of facing any challenge that arises. So, the question is, how strong is your faith? Can you trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even when you can't see the next step? Faith is what separates those who get lost in chaos from those who find purpose in it. And the chosen ones always find purpose because they choose to believe, even in the deepest darkness. The sixth test, the art of surrender. The sixth test, and perhaps the most challenging of all, is surrender. Unlike letting go, which involves releasing what no longer serves you, surrender requires you to accept life's flow exactly as it is. It's not about giving up but about completely trusting the forces beyond your control. For many, this is terrifying because it goes against the human instinct to seek control over every aspect of existence. Surrender begins when you realize that fighting against life's current only brings exhaustion and suffering. Imagine someone trying to swim against a powerful river. No matter how hard they try, the river pushes them back. Resistance gets them nowhere, it only drains their energy. Surrender, on the other hand, is like allowing yourself to be carried by the river, trusting that it knows exactly where it's taking you. It doesn't mean passivity but wisdom to know when it's time to flow. This test challenges our ego, which makes us believe we are in control. We live by planning, setting goals, and creating expectations about how things should be. But life, with all its complexity, rarely follows our plans. Surrender is accepting this without resistance. It's an act of courage because it means letting go of the illusion of control and trusting the unknown. The chosen ones understand that there is a greater intelligence guiding everything, something beyond what the human mind can comprehend. Surrender doesn't mean inaction. It doesn't mean giving up on doing your part, but rather stopping the fight against what cannot be changed. It's about accepting situations as they are while doing what you can without attachment to the outcome. It's like planting a seed. You prepare the soil, water it, and care for it, but you understand that you don't control its growth. You trust nature to take care of the rest. This balance between action and acceptance is at the heart of surrender. Those who pass this test discover a profound state of peace. They understand that by aligning with life's flow, everything becomes lighter. Not because challenges disappear, but because resistance to them dissolves. Surrender is an act of strength, not weakness. It requires unshakable trust in the universe and in yourself, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Now, think about your life. How many times have you resisted what was happening, wishing things were different? And what if, instead of fighting, you trusted that what's happening is exactly what should happen? Surrender is not the end, it's the beginning of a new relationship with life. And this is the test that separates those who cling to control from those who fully embrace the universe's flow. The seventh test, awakening to purpose. The seventh and final test faced by the chosen is the most revealing. It is not a test of endurance, like the previous ones, but a test of realization. After confronting truth, solitude, letting go, darkness, faith, and surrender, the moment comes to discover why all of this happened. This is where you awaken to your purpose, the greater reason that justifies every challenge you faced. This test begins when life stops being about what you can gain and starts being about what you can offer. It is a moment of transition where the focus shifts from the ego to the impact your existence can have on the world. It's not about something grandiose in a material sense, but about living in alignment with your deepest truth. Every person has a unique purpose, but few recognize it because they don't go through the preceding tests. Purpose is not something you find outside of yourself. It's already within you, waiting to be discovered. Think of purpose as a seed planted in your soul at the beginning of your journey. The tests you've faced were like tools that prepared the soil, removed weeds, and created the ideal conditions for this seed to bloom. Awakening to purpose is the moment you realize that everything you went through was not in vain. This test demands more than clarity, it demands action. Purpose isn't just something to understand but something to live. Many reach this point and hesitate, fearing the weight of their responsibility. But the chosen know that living in alignment with purpose is not a burden, it's a liberation. It's like finding the natural rhythm of life and dancing with it, without resistance. It's the point where your talents, passions, and experiences converge and begin to benefit not only you but also others. Awakening to purpose also redefines success. It is no longer measured by external achievements but by the authenticity with which you live. Every step you take in alignment with your purpose brings peace and satisfaction. It doesn't matter if the world recognizes what you're doing, you know you're on the right path because you feel it in your heart. This is the true test, living according to your essence, even when the world seems to pull you in different directions. Now, pause and reflect, do you feel you're living your purpose? If not, what's holding you back? Awakening to purpose is not an endpoint, it's the beginning of a new journey. And the chosen know that by living in alignment with their purpose, they not only transform their own lives but also leave a lasting impact on the world. The journey of the chosen is not for the faint of heart. Each test, from truth to surrender, challenges not only the body but the soul. It's a path that demands courage, persistence, and above all, faith in the process. The good news is that these tests are not punishments but opportunities. They exist to transform us, reconnect us to the purest essence of who we are, and align us with the purpose life has reserved for each of us. The truth is that the chosen are not born ready, they are made throughout this journey. They choose to face challenges, dive into darkness, release what binds them, and trust the invisible. They understand that the purpose of life is not just to survive but to awaken, love, create, and live authentically. In the end, being chosen is, above all, a choice, to surrender to life and the greatness it has to offer. And now I ask you, are you ready to make this choice? The tests are hard, but what awaits on the other side is freedom, peace, and true fulfillment. The path is before you. The decision is yours.